Hello, everyone. Someone said originality is simply a fresh pair of eyes. This originality is what has enabled Chennai based startup NeoMotion to come up with innovative designs for assistive devices for people with mobility challenges. We will be speaking to Mr. Swostik Sourav Dash, the co founder and CEO of NeoMotion, about the company, their products, their vision, the challenges, and the scope for more innovations in the mobility space. I am very glad that you could join us today, Mr. Saurav. I understand that NeoMotion was set up in 2018 and you launched your first design in 2020. Could you tell me what NeoMotion actually does?
Thank you so much, Pratibha, for having me here and interacting with this. NeoMotion goal is to enable people with disability and elderly live life to the fullest. In a country like India, there are so many challenges that people with disability face. There has been so much of development, but how often do we see a wheelchair user in our daily life? Say today, if somebody goes to office or a park or a mall in our public places, do we see them? And the answer is often no, very less. I mean, the very few of them we see in our daily life. And when we were doing our research back in 2017, 2018, we found that most wheelchair users are confined to within their home. They're stuck within the four walls. So NeoMotion's goal was, how can we help people with disability come out into the world? How can they be more inclusive? How can they participate in daily activities, in economic activities, in recreational activities, and actually live life to the fullest? And we are trying to solve this through technological interventions, being designers and engineers. How can we, through our products, address the requirements of persons with disability, and also in keeping in mind the various infrastructure and accessibility challenges that we have, taking the entire lens is how we try to achieve the larger goal.
Very nice. So you are an alumnus of IIT Madras and a mechanical engineer and a product designer by profession, isn't it? So tell me what drew your attention to mobility space. Is there a personal story behind it?
So it's a mere coincidence. Let's be very simple about it. It all, so we are basically we co-founders are hardware enthusiasts. We love designing and building things. Back in our college days at IIT Madras, the 5 years that we spent, we were constantly building something or the other, be it robotics, aero modeling, and so on. So there was a constant desire within to build something which can come to life. And as a part of our final year project, we also wanted to do something similar. And when we came across Dr. Sujata Srinivasan, who is our professor and who is also one of the directors of the company, and she was working in the field of disability. And I personally did my master's project with her. And that's when we realized how a simple mechanical device can actually have so much of impact. And we were surprised to find that nobody else was doing it. So when you realize that the skills, know-how, knowledge that you have can actually bring so much of change, and there is actually a business opportunity also, then we try to connect the entire thing and see how can we build a system out of it so that the problems are being solved, and at the same time it creates powerful impact and brings change into their life. So the personal interest is only this. We love designing and building things. We had an inclination towards impact, and IIT Madras helped us identify an area where we could apply the skills. And now more we get into this particular field, we see there is so much of unsolved challenge, and the more time you spend, you feel more responsible that yes, I think we should do something more about it. And that has been the journey for us. And I would say it's the beginning of the journey right now. There's a lot of change to be brought about in this particular field.
Lovely. So I read that you had detailed interactions with over 1,000 wheelchair users in different parts of India before designing your first product. So what specific problems did you identify in the current mobility solutions for people with special abilities?
Sure. So when we were traveling around and meeting persons with disability, see, many of them had access to products. Many of them had wheelchairs, and some of them were also good wheelchairs, like good products they were using. Uh, but what the insight that we learned during that interaction was, I think economic independence is important. Now, it's perfectly all right that I have a wheelchair with which I'm able to move around inside my house. But till I really go out and start earning on my own, the value associated with you and how you are perceived in the society is different. And people, that was affecting most of the people. So, for example, most of our interactions were with persons with, say, spinal cord injury. Somebody was an electrician, somebody was a plumber, a carpenter, somebody was working in an office, in a government job or a private job, and because of some accident, uh, they had to now use a wheelchair for their mobility. Now, what happens is you are a breadwinner, and then suddenly you are not, and that actually affects them a lot. I mean, your
Yes.
life suddenly flipped, and so even though you have provided a mobility, you are able to take care of it. But then you are playing a very important role in the family, in the society, in your community, which you are right now not doing. So our goal was, when we started to think about the product, it was like, what do we build which will allow people not only to be mobile but also go back into their employment by some means. How can they go out? How can they travel to office? Or even if, like, not start employment, but at least of household activities. Like, I go to the market and I buy the groceries and vegetables. So I'm easing the burden on maybe somebody else. So this is the entire lens with which we started designing and building our products. Provide mobility with the goal to provide economic independence. And this was our key observation during the travel across the country, meeting with different people, which we
Okay.
started building the products.
Very interesting. Now, we're very keen to learn about these two products that you have, NeoFly and NeoBolt. Could you tell us about these flagship products and what exactly are their features and what do they help people do?
Sure. So I'll first start with NeoFly. NeoFly is our customized wheelchair. Before I start, I'll share an analogy. All of us wear shoes. Is the shoe size same for all of us? The answer is no. Different people have different body dimensions, and the shoes should be actually fitting to that. Now, imagine if I say that all of us start wearing shoes of size 14. Will that really be useful? The answer is again no. I mean, yes. I
Absolutely
mean,
not.
when I look at it visually, I'll have a shoe, but then what really do you do with it? Let's get into some more depth. Like, if there are different type of shoes for running, for maybe hiking, for in your when it is raining, you wear. So when there is so much of variety over there, which helps you in mobility for your different requirements for the environment and your body dimension, why should wheelchair be of one size fits all? So most of the wheelchairs that is presently sold in the country, 95% of them are one size fits all. So NeoFly is the customized product which takes into account the different body dimensions, then their health condition and the environment where it will be used. Will it be used outdoors? Will you go to office in that, or use it in a mall, or in an urban setting, rural setting? So we customize it in 18 different ways. So we understand the user, and based on this, we do the customization. And what happens as a result of it? A, you have a great posture. The chances of you developing a back pain or shoulder pain significantly comes down. B, it's very smooth to propel. Why should moving a wheelchair be tiring? If you're moving it with your hand, it could be fun, it could be easy. So our wheelchairs are very, NeoFly is very smooth. A person saves a lot of energy. Third, it's very compact in size. Our lifts are small, doors are small, houses are small. You need a very compact product which can move around easily in these confined environment. And fourth, when you sit on it, you feel good about yourself. Your body language changes. Now imagine wearing a nice dress, a nicely ironed dress, or a well-fitting dress versus a not so well-fitting dress. So your body language, the overall outlook changes. So that's what NeoFly lets you do that. And because it's so compact, you also see the person more, and the wheelchair is kind of silent at the back. So which speaks out loud is the person and not the chair. So that's what is NeoFly. And NeoBolt is an attachment that converts the wheelchair to a bike. Typically, if a wheelchair user has to go out, he or she will call an auto rickshaw, hire a car, shift and transfer from the chair to this device. They'll often need help from family members and friends, and you are dependent. If a wheelchair user needs to go out, he or she needs to plan and think and consider availability of friends, and then they go out. What NeoBolt does is eliminates that entire requirement. As a wheelchair user, I can simply attach the attachment to my wheelchair, and now it becomes a battery powered bike. And it goes up to, we have two variants. You can go up to 25 kilometers or 50 kilometers for every charge, and which allows them to go to office, market, and so on. And it's built for the different road conditions, the uneven terrain, speed breakers, potholes. You can drive on that. It has all the required features that are there in a bike, like your indicators, mirror, reverse. So your entire mobility is safe and convenient, how it should be, like for an automobile. So these are the two products which are there in the market right now.
That's wonderful to know. I'm very curious about the fact that, when you started, there is a specific niche to the product that you're designing. So, what were your initial challenges and breakthroughs that you had as part of your organization when you started up?
Yeah. So the key aspect was basically ensuring that the functional need of you being able to operate the product and go out is being achieved, and that required multiple iterations. Let's talk about NeoFly, which is the customized chair, and NeoBolt, which is the add-on. For both of them, when we talk about customization, every human being, person with disability is different, and we had to consider all those different requirements and fit into a single platform where we can actually achieve that customizations at scale, to build the processes and so on. So a lot of design thinking, thought process went into interacting with users, understanding their requirement, and translating them into the engineering product, so that the functions, key functions, are being achieved. And when we talk about the attachment, it is like, as a person with disability, I should be able to do it easily. I may not have enough strength and dexterity in my finger or control. With that mobility, how am I able to attach it and operate so that you're able to go out? So it started with a very functional requirement, that how can the person who is sitting on the chair feel comfortable when they are sitting for long hours, considering all the different customizations. And for the add-on, how can they operate it independently with lesser effort, and do that. And we spent a lot of time iterating on this, and that's where we found the key features, highlights, the key design and engineering thoughts have gone into that, and it is seen in the product. There were other aspects related to the overall business operations also. So this is about the product. The second was about every chair that we make is customized. So what is the process that we follow to collect these measurements from people who are spread across everywhere? Conventionally, it has been done through a brick and mortar model, where there is a therapist. As a wheelchair user, you come to a client, you come to the center, take your measurements being taken over there, and then you generate a prescription. But then that is, we can't really, with that model, we can't supply everywhere. So we came up with a virtual model, a method by which, whichever part of the country that you are located in, through a video call, we are able to collect your measurement, and with very good accuracy, and we assemble it to order over here, and then we deliver it at your doorstep in ready to use form. That was one important innovation that we did in the overall process. It is a customized product, so there are always questions like, if you customize it, how quickly can you deliver it? Won't it take a long time? And I think when we started, it used to take about 60 days to 90 days to deliver. With constant process innovation, we have brought it. We place the order today. In like last year, we achieved about, in 7 days we dispatch it, and now we are aiming for, you place the order today, in 2 days we will dispatch it, and every unit is custom built. So that is another process innovation that we have done. Another important part is it is like an automobile. It requires after sales service. Uh, Now, given that we're delivering across the country, how do we ensure that after sales is being taken care of? Here also, we have come up some methods by which how the toolkits are provided, how the parts are designed so that users are able to take care of it remotely. Uh, there is still a lot more work to be done to ensure the turnaround time is reduced over here, like how we did for the delivery time. But this is also something work in progress, and I'm sure that here also we're finding we'll find a method by which the turnaround time is also reduced. So there are innovations across the entire chain to ensure that the product is delivered and users actually enjoy the value props.
Well, so, taking off from a point that you just spoke about, how you have to take care of the after service care as well. So, you seem to put a lot of onus on the after service care and spare parts availability as well. Tell us about how you handle the after sales issues through NeoCare.
Got it. So so we try to break down our entire after sales into three different modules. So anything to do with the tires, tubes, brakes, which like if they stop functioning and you really can't move anywhere, and the chances of some of these failures are also very high. Like you're driving, you may have a puncture or something can go wrong. So for all of this, you don't have to be dependent on us. You go to a local shop and then you get it repaired over there. Then comes the specialized items and parts which are available with us, and we courier it. We courier it to the user, and the toolkit is already provided. And we have a repository of about 80 different videos which show how to make that change in the product. And at the design stage itself, it has been kept in a way where at least the parts which would require replacement, they're plug and play. I mean, you remove it, it's easy to operate and do that. And at a third level, we have our floating team which travels to the respective person's location and solves the issue. These are for cases whose frequency is less. So these are the three modules in which we operate, and we try to centrally address all of them. Every issue that comes, there is a centralized number which logs it, and from there we route it to the respective channel. So we are available to guide what action needs to be taken through NeoCare.
Right. You also mentioned how valuable user feedback has been in your designs and designing specific features of your product. Could you give us some examples of that as to how you have collected information? Because I feel that, like, I understand that a lot of differently able sports persons are also using your products, for example. So, could you tell us a lot more examples of your learnings from user feedback?
Sure. So the entire the product innovation and journey has been based on the user feedback. And let's say I crystallized our entire product feature into 4 points when I talk about NeoFly, and these statements are actually what has been said by your users. And while multiple things were said, but then looking at the commonality, what are the key things that people want solution for? What offers them a delight, or what is a pain point which can be translated into an opportunity? Simple thing. I mean, the question is like when I said the statement that I am pushing my wheelchair. Why should pushing a wheelchair be challenging? Why should it be tiring on my shoulder? And now that is the design problem for us. How can we make the product so that it's easy to push, it's easy to move around? The second thing, like somebody said, I'm presently using a chair, but then I keep getting stuck everywhere. If I have to enter my bathroom, I get stuck. Or when I go to my office, when I'm trying to take a tight turn, I get stuck. So even inside my house, there are areas which I cannot go. Now that becomes a design challenge. Okay, how can we make it compact to ensure that all that access is being provided? And so in fact, I mean, we came up with the attachment as a concept, but the user feedback and the user insight over there is like, they didn't ask like, okay, can you help me? Somebody said, can you help me make a device which can help me transfer from a chair to a car at ease or an auto rickshaw at ease? But then if you go to the problem, the user feedback and the user challenge is like, why am I being shifted from here to there? Why does everybody, every time I need to go to office, I need to be carried from one place to another? Now that became the design problem, and for which we came the solution. So in fact, every single feature that I said is originated from a user requirement and a feedback which has come during the interactions. And so that was when the product was being conceptualized. Now going forward, when we made the first proto and then we started designing it, and then I said that we were building customized products which used to take so much time. So again, user feedback: can you not deliver it within 7 days? Why do I need to wait for so long to get a customized? Now that becomes a challenge, and then we do it. So that's been the nature, and now we are the user feedback is: why does your after sales take so much time? Why can we not make it shorter, lesser, more easier accessible? So each one of them becomes the principle on which whatever work that we are doing is being based on, and which becomes the highlight. So the important thing over here is to be constantly listening to people and find that common point which is being spoken a lot and which is valuable to a lot of people. Uh, and if I have to explain this slightly more, in our design journey, it used to be like this. So we come to the drawing board, we build something, and then it's not that we evaluate whether it is right or not. We have a set of 20, 30 users. We go, we do trials with them. If they say yes, it goes to the next stage. If they say no, it comes back to the drawing board. So that is the that's the gate that we use to ensure that if it goes, then only it moves to the next stage. Otherwise, it comes back. So with that lens, we try to operate, and it really helps. Yeah.
Right. I wanted to understand what the pricing point is right now for these products, and what was the thought process behind it, and have you had any tie-ups, or have you considered any philanthropic organizations coming in to make it more accessible to people at large?
Sure. So our so NeoFly is presently priced at 49,000 rupees. We offer discounts at different points of time. So with the present discount, it's being sold at 43,000. NeoBolt and NeoFly together as a set, it's priced at 1.2 lakh rupees, and with discounts we are presently offering it's about 1 lakh 5,000 rupees. How some of these price points have been identified is so let's look at it. If this is the price pyramid, where it is like the most expensive product, the number of people who could benefit is actually less. And if the price point is very low, the number of people who could benefit is significantly large. And by choice, we did not start with a mass market product. We started with something like a mid-market sort of price point where we have some volume. And the idea was to closely engage with different users to understand their requirements so that we could refine the entire process. Because when we are doing a mass market product, it's important that we have a very good grasp of the market, which we presently not, because NeoFly and NeoBolt are the first product. So we started with this. And specifically, why a price point of about 1 lakh, 1.2 lakhs for NeoBolt? It's like a two-wheeler. If one has to buy a bike or a scooty, that's the price that one would pay. And we were trying to see that around that price point, what are the best features that we can offer at that. And when it comes to NeoFly, it is like you get a good customized wheelchair in the market. Presently, it will only be available in the global market, and you would maybe pay 1 lakh or 1.2 lakhs to get it. And we were trying to ensure that we offer these similar features at whatever is the lowest price that's possible, and we landed up somewhere about 50,000 rupees in that all these features we could offer. So it's very competitive compared to an apple-to-apple comparison with that. And we offer EMIs. So, like for example, we have a tie-up with financing institutions who offer loans, and you can pay in installments over an 18 months period. We are trying to also see how could it be expanded to 36 months, so that every month you pay a small amount and it comes within the reach of people. We have also been attempting to build partnerships so that it could go into the main. I mean, a lot more people could use it. So some of the partnerships, like we with Zomato, we work where people who who don't have a job right now and who may not be able to buy right now themselves on their own, they can take up a food deliveries job, and they can start earning, and through that they can pay the EMI and own the product. At times there are corporates, different CSRs who come and subsidize a portion of it, and then people start earning. There is also a large number of people who are able to buy on their own because there is merit. They're anyway spending on their car to travel to office, or renting a car and auto rickshaw that is there. So they are anyway buying on their own. There are also people who can't pay the entire amount together, but then we are finding these employment opportunities like Zomato. Now we recently did a pilot with Amazon. So now Amazon is recruiting wheelchair users who do last mile delivery of their products. So with some of these partnerships, we'll be able to create this economic independence and employment opportunities where they'll be able to earn. And once they start earning with the help of the financing institution, they will be able to buy our products, even if they're at 1 lakh or 1.2 lakh. It solves. And basically, it's like a 1 lakh or 1.2 lakh rupee investment, so that you start earning maybe 2-3 times of that per year, and from there on, it's your own savings. And
Okay. So, do you have any overseas users as well right now, and how do you cater to them?
so we are not into exports yet. So when we have designed the products, they have been made according to the standards which would be required to be complied when we go. We have only started engaging and finding partners who could represent us in different countries. So we're looking at Southeast Asia, Middle East to start, where to ensure that there is one center, one organization who holds and ensures that the entire operations is happening smoothly, the after sales and all of that is taken care of. So we're finding these right partners. Certain engagements have started, and very soon we will start. Our products will be available in different countries also.
Right. Taking off from that point, what are some of the regulatory challenges that you have had to navigate in the past, or you're still navigating? Because I understand that mobility is a pretty niche space, and there are pretty much a lot of challenges in developing devices. So, could you tell us about the regulatory challenges that kind of affect you, and what can be done to make it better?
Maybe when we started, one of the largest challenge, or rather unknown, was is this a road vehicle? Does it need to comply? Does it need to have a registration number or a plate and so on? And because it's a new kind of product, there was no definition around it, and it took some time. But right now, it has been identified, and it's been identified as a category of vehicle, and regulations are in a draft stage where it is being understood that okay, now this is there and how it needs to be taken forward. So for us, it took some time to reach that stage, but in the meanwhile, we had understood what are the different kind of products which are available out there, and are we similar to some of them. And we tried to ensure that at least we have documentary evidences that we are not violating anything. We may not be able to say that we are right, but at least we are not in non-compliance with anything. In an ideal world, it would have been fantastic if a product category like this would have existed, but that was not the case. So we had to ensure that we are not violating anything. We are in some similar category of products, and then we kept on directing our efforts that we create a category, and we're very happy that okay, now that has been created and work is progress to regularizing that. In parallel, what we had done, we had also seen okay, what are the other products, similar products which are out there in the world, maybe for which there are some standards, may not be exact but something similar. So yes, so wheelchairs and then attachment to outdoor scooters, mobility scooters, these are some similar products for which standards exist elsewhere. I mean, and we try to ensure that we comply with them, because, well, yes, in India it may not be there, but out there it's somewhere, it's there. So we built some of those test setups on our own, and we tested it according to them, and it also helps us in a design and development. We feel more confident about our product. We are able to identify the risks associated to it in the design stage itself, rather than it going onto the field and failing over there. So yeah, these are the two things, the two approaches which we took, and right now at least it seems to be in hold. I mean, we have a direction to going forward. It's not yet completely solved, but it's fallen into a category where it is known and the path is certain, whereas earlier it was uncertain. We didn't know.
That's quite heartening to hear. Now, talking about the IIT Madras incubation system and you having been part of it as a startup, how has the incubation environment really helped you as a startup, and what kind of advantages and benefits has it afforded you?
So I think IIT Madras incubation cell and the overall IIT Madras ecosystem is fantastic when it comes to hardware startups, because a couple of points. I think the two most important things are the peers who are there, and second is the mentoring support that you get over here. Apart from the other things, I mean, you definitely get your space, all the legal advisory and all of that. But the two most important thing are the what are others working on, what can you learn from them, and it is a thriving product, hardware, and very fundamental and tough challenges was with what everybody is trying to solve here. So that kind, and most of them which require some patience. So I think that has been very helpful in co-learning and in that exchange of thoughts, ideas, and so, and also the mentoring that all of us received as a part of a structured program. It helps us identify the unknowns, which we don't even early on. And it's not that we find different scenarios by accident. We know of it. Like there could be something like this, and we have taken that into consideration, and we have made some decisions knowing that something like that is out there. Otherwise, you're only discovering by failure as you encounter it. And this mentoring helps us fast track the learning cycle, and we are exposed to a lot more nuances of doing a business, the different aspects to it. And many of the mentors also go slightly deep into establishing connections, doing meetings with us, setting the standard, setting examples of how certain conversations have to happen, going through contracts, going through different project plans, budgeting, which many of us would be doing for the first time in a real life scenario. So I think all these reviews and inputs have been fantastic in helping and reducing the overall risk that any startup has.
Right. And one of the major challenges you would have faced as a startup, I'm sure, is finding the right investors, probably. How did you navigate that challenge? Was it of any help that you were part of the incubation ecosystem at IIT Madras?
Yeah. So, we are bootstrapped slash grant funded. So
Okay.
that's the method which we have been following. But all our initial funding, let's say our debt funding, whatever we took, was from incubation cell. And incubation cell has been, I think, the key time when all those funds have come in has been fantastic. It's like we took some debt and then we repaid it, and then we acquired more, and then it came in, and then it helped. So for us personally, purely in terms of for NeoMotion as such, I think the debt funding that has been provided by incubation cell and the grant funding initially to start has been crucial. And had it not been those early debts, we would not have been to and by consciously we wanted to stay bootstrapped and to stretch as much as possible, and those debt funds actually helped us did that. And I'm not sure if anybody else would have done it, but because of IITM incubation cell, they saw the value potential, they saw our financials, and they felt confident. And it's not that everybody looks at it that way.
Correct. And what were some of the biggest hurdles or challenges that you had as startups? And generally, speaking of startups, what are some of the areas that you find are challenging for them to navigate? And what would your suggestions be to enable and boost entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So I think what I would have, I mean, my key recommendation when I always say is like, I think that grit and perseverance is one of the most important aspect. I think certain things take time, and we need to ensure that we spend that amount of time to see through a logical result and conclusion. While there are multiple challenges, but I think finding that why you have started, what is the purpose with which you have started to solve something, and personally, why is it exciting for you? Bringing that clarity and staying committed for it for a good duration of time is important, because only then you would reach, you'd learn enough about the problem and figure out nuances about the problem, uh, which is what will help you excel and do good in that particular segment. So I think staying persistence, I mean, committed to that particular purpose for some duration. I mean, when we started, we said, no matter what, we are trying this for the next 4 years. We don't know where it will go, but for 4 years, we are not going to question why we started. And I think that has been one of the best things that we have done.
Great. One obvious question that comes to mind is what is next from you? You have NeoFly, NeoBolt. You also have NeoCare, which is doing pretty well. Now, what can we expect from you next?
Yeah, so we have a range of products which is coming up. So we have Neo Stand. It's a standing wheelchair which allows people to come from a sitting to an upright position independently on their own, which is a powered device. We have Neo Power, which is a joystick controlled, customized powered wheelchair for people with lesser or no upper body strength. It caters to a different segment of users. We have NeoFly X, which is a lightweight wheelchair for people who are already having cars and they want to transfer and shift on their own. These are the three things which we are launching this particular year. There are a few other products which we are working on in the segment of elderly, and maybe next year we will have, I'll be able to tell you the names about what those things are. We're still figuring out the area that is there. But there is a clear roadmap of about 12 next products that we are building. So in the entire space of mobility, be it the person being able to move from place A to place B or move some objects within, to ensure that there is no dependence on anybody else in that entire area, we would try to build products which presently don't exist.
Right. So 2024 is going to be a really busy year for you, I can see. So, what is your long term vision for NeoMotion?
Yeah, anybody who could benefit from a wheelchair should have a NeoMotion wheelchair or any product associated with that. So I think that's what we would love to see. People benefiting and enjoying life without uh, worrying about daily activities, very simple activities, making them live very smoothly, seamlessly is what we would like to achieve. And every single person on earth who could benefit from such a device should have a NeoMotion device, is what we would like to see.
Right. And this is something that I ask every founder who come to our show. What would be a parting advice to people who are, who are looking to start a new venture and people who are trying to be entrepreneurs? What would your advice be to them?
Yeah, I think one I have already told. It's usually two pieces. Just listen to, be constantly listening to your target customers, and persevere. Spend time. Be committed.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Swastik. It has been a real pleasure to interact with you today. I really got to learn a lot of new things, about NeoMotion and about this whole category of, mobility. And I wish you good luck, and we hope to see a lot more from you this year. And I hope to have you back sometime soon. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Pratibha, for it was lovely interacting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.